Moses Malone or Kevin Garnett, who, when they signed up with respectable teams to win a chip, that I thought could have won more? That's a good question because Moses Malone joined the Sixers in '83, and 444 became a way of life. I mean, it was like one of the most dominant runs I ever seen. Um, these guys both came out of high school, both were flexible. I think a lot of people forget how bad Moses Malone is. Moses Malone is in my top six greatest centers ever, and I think he's probably the most underappreciated of all because he's the one who showed Akeem a lot, and he would have been a problem. He put body on Kareem. He's the one who made Kareem have to step his game up. He was something else. You know, a lot of people forget about how bad he was. ABA, one of the greatest ABA players, one of the greatest NBA players, three-time league MVP. And he gets kind of sideshow because he was a brother. He wasn't one of the ones that was a puppet, and he just down home folk. And he had a way of handling things. He handled things. He trash talked Larry Bird. He said, "I can get 4 cats from St. Petersburg, Virginia, and come beat the Celtics." He said that. They know they lost 6 games to the Celtics. Think about someone trash talking Larry Bird before Larry Bird. Moses Malone was not one to back down. That is a 101. But when he got to the Sixers, him and Dr. J, he was the missing link to getting Julius Erving a chip as far as the center spot. Because all due respect to Caldwell Jones and the Daryl Dawkins, they weren't Moses Malone. And Moses put them shoes on, and you knew you had to deal with them. So, but the Sixers' run was short lived. They got old quick. They got knocked out the next year by the Nets. That's when it was two out of the best of 2 out of 3, and they got knocked out in the first round, '84. Buck Williams and the Nets, and that was a huge upset back then. The Celtics won the chip in '08 when they got Garnett from Minnesota. He came up big. Got hurt the next year, lost to Orlando. And then they went back and lost to the Lakers in the second rematch in 2010. So out of Moses Malone and Kevin Garnett, which team should have had more runs? Um, I probably would have said the Celtics because the Sixers were older. Now, if Andrew Toney is healthy, but remember, Dr. J did retire in '87. Moses played another 8, 9 more years, but his peak was with Philly, and he was older when they got Barkley. But Garnett, Pierce, Ray Allen, Rondo, that should have had more run, I think. You know, this is one of the few times I'm going to take Kevin Garnett over Moses Malone. One of the few, so you better remember it. But I think Kevin Garnett coming to Boston, Kevin Garnett with Boston had more run than Moses Malone in Philly. I just do. I think that because of the timing. Now I will say this: all things being equal, Moses would have won more with Philly. Moses' run in Philly was more memorable because 444 wasn't no joke. That's back in the day when you got one guy like that and you won. Not like now where you have to stockpile 2 and 3 cats and maybe you hope you get it. So that's the difference. But I thought that Kevin Garnett going to Boston had more titles than Moses in Philly. Because as great as '83 was, they got old. And a lot of it because Andrew Toney got hurt and they couldn't. And then when Toney got Barkley and those guys were older. So a lot of it just was that it caught up. Boston just what they came up short against the Lakers in 2010. And then they lost to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. They should have had more run though. So the Garnett to Boston should have had more run than Moses to Philly. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another share. If you like, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm on one time. Peace.